Bulls versus bears. Let's check this out. I see some people saying this is a bear market right now, and there are people saying that this is still a bull market. Let's take a look. Let's just take a look, right? So, welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's find out if it's time to panic and to sell everything, walk away, and buy back lower, or to say, like, there's an opportunity right now because the bull market isn't over yet. I'm biased, of course. Uh, I think I have the answer, but let's take a look at multiple charts and see what they're saying. I'm not gonna look at news. Why? Because if the news is that important, then it's already in the charts, right? So charts are at the end of the day all we need. You can ignore news, this, that. If it doesn't show on the charts, and apparently the news isn't interesting enough, right? So then it won't have an effect. So there are a lot of different charts that I actually want to take a look at right now to look like, hey, these charts can help us understand in what type of market we are and what are they saying right now, shorter term, but also maybe longer term, right? And overall, for the long term, again, my bias is that I'm bullish. But what do they say in short term? I don't really look at that a lot, to be honest. Why? Because I rather invest and just wait and then take my profits months later and then wait for months again. And I don't play the daily game, right? I don't care really about that. I'm not a trader, I'm an investor. So let's see. There are multiple things. First off, the 30% dip that's going on right now. This is a reason for people to say that it's bearish out there, right? If we look at Bitcoin, it currently from the top to the bottom went down 30%. You could see that as a bearish case, right? Going down 30%, that's a bear market. This is normal in the post-halving year. It's Q1 post-halving year, right? And what we saw Q1 post-halving year in 2021 is that Bitcoin had a correction of 31.4%. And in 2017, we actually had multiples of those. We had a correction right here of around 35%, but still here in March 2017, that's completely comparable to kind of where we are right now, of course. We had a correction of 33%, right? And we have many more of those. But you can see that in Q1 of the post-halving year, it is normal that we do get a 30% correction and we still get a bull market after that. So in my opinion, it's obvious that that's a point for the bulls in this case. By the way, this idea is a little bit stolen from Cowen, but he did this months ago and not anymore. So I feel like, let me do that. So bulls, bears, let me write that down. Here we go. Bulls have won. If you disagree on a certain point, let me know though, right? I'm reading these charts. You could read them differently, of course. So that's one. Next one. USDT dominance. What's the USDT dominance saying? Now, I do want to quickly give a disclaimer that USDT dominance isn't everything. Overall, if the USDT dominance is going down, you could say like, hey, less money in USDT, so more in crypto. So that's good. And if it goes up, then people take profits from coins and put it into USDT. However, it doesn't take into account that this has nothing to do with new money coming into the market, of course, right? Also, USDT dominance can go down because people are simply cashing it out to their bank accounts. So that's that. Then again, overall, USDT dominance up, bearish, USDT dominance down, bullish. So what I'm looking at right now, look, we just had a bearish move, right? But there's not a video to talk about where we were a couple weeks ago. It's where we are right now and what to expect. If I look at this chart right here, I would Look, you can't ignore that the bears have been strong at this point. But it's same as saying like, hey, you can't ignore that the bears have been strong at this point and then start to turn bearish over here before crypto had a sick ass run, right? This small downwards move by the USDT dominance was great for certain altcoins. We really went from 180 billion to cycle highs, like did a 3x overall, and some altcoins did even way better than that. So it's a little dangerous to be bearish at this point, in my opinion, based on this chart. It's now sitting at resistance. It's sitting at this diagonal, tried to break, was a wick so far below it. So in this case, this chart isn't fully played out yet. Overall, if you show me this chart and you ask me only about this chart, hey, would you be bullish on crypto or be bearish? I think it has more downside than upside at this point. And therefore, I would say this is a point for the bulls, right? So let me get there. Just pop up on my screen, you little bitch. All right. Next one, alt Bitcoin. And again, I said, guys, I am biased towards being bullish. I can't help that, right? I can't help that. I really tried to look for bearish scenarios. And although I may have seen somewhat here and there, it's hard to find something that makes me really bearish on the market in the long term, okay? And with the long term, I mean rest of the year. Seasonality, not unimportant, right? If we purely look at seasonality for crypto, right, for Bitcoin, for altcoins, then so far it's always playing out in a 4-year cycle. Again, we can say this time is different, but until it is, I'm not gonna call that, right? That a lot of people tried that, they got wrecked. It may be in the future, but for now we work with what we have, right? So we have the top end of 2013, end of 2017, end of 2021, and therefore it is, in my opinion, purely based on the seasonality. Of course, likely that it's going to be end of 2025. We are now in March, right? So is it based on seasonality smart to think that it is a bear market? No, not really. Matter of fact, for Bitcoin, you could see that last cycle, we had a first top in April and we had a second top, which was slightly higher in November. So you could say like, yeah, well, you know, March, April, Bitcoin already showed that it can top earlier. So might not be unwise to be bearish. And I do get that. However, do you invest in Bitcoin at this moment? I am at this stage of the market mostly in alts. And if we do take a look at the altcoin market, then you can see that this was nothing like a double top, right? We had a wick right here, quick wick at 425 billion. But then we went to like more than 500, right? So the altcoin market gained a lot at this stage, especially certain coins that just came out. And I'm not even talking about new weird high-risk coins. I'm talking, for example, AVAX, right? At this first top, where you could have said like, okay, let's sell, it's great. AVAX was sitting at $2 billion market cap, right? At the second top, it was sitting at a $27 billion market cap. And that was a slightly high cap coin, right? So even though we, for Bitcoin, had almost a double top, altcoins, especially in the second leg of the post-halving year, had an insane run. And that's not only this market, right? You can see here as well, Bitcoin in 2017, clear, right? Just one big blow off top and down, right? We had a run up, blow off top, down. Nothing like a double top or a rebound or whatever, something like that. If we look at the altcoin market, you can see we had a blow off top right here a month later. Then we went down and then we went up again, right? With more than a 3x and then went into a bear market. So far, altcoins show that, especially in the second half of the post-halving year, they have their best moment. might be very unwise to sell right before we get to that period in the market because you think that this time is going to be different, which is a very dangerous thought. So cycle-wise, big fat point for the bulls, right? Big fat point for the bulls. Then we have let me check. Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. Sorry. Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. Now, you could say like, hey, I mean, it's a hard topic, right? It's the bull or bear market. The question should be, what asset are we talking about? Is it a bull market for Bitcoin? Obviously, right? Is it a bull market for altcoins? Yeah, also, but not as explosive. Is it, however, a bull market for altcoins on the Bitcoin pair? No, it's been going down, right? It's been going down. However, it's not that we should now say like, oh, wow, bear market just started or incoming. If anything, we were in a bear market already. Since January 2022, we are already in a bear market for altcoins on the Bitcoin pair for the last 3 years, right? So to now say like, it's gonna be bearish, I feel like, you were 3 years too late, bro. And out of the 4-year cycle, we have 3 bearish years for altcoins and 1 bullish year. And you're gonna turn bearish right before the bullish year? I don't know, man. So yeah, we've been now going down for 3 years. Same as here, right? Top, February 2018. Went down, down. Relief rally, down again. And here we like really blew up, right? January 2021, 3 years. So altcoins on the Bitcoin pair. If this video is about, hey, how did everything look the last couple of months, years, then this was a massive point for the bears, right? It's even worth 2 points. However, if you ask me right now, at this moment, it is still a bear market for altcoins on the Bitcoin pair. However, the forecast, in my opinion, is obviously that it's going up, right? So it's a little hard to decide based on what it is. So I'm gonna give 1 to the bulls for what's about to come, and 1 for the bears for what we are seeing right now, basically. Then we have altcoins on their dollar pair, right? Again, very simple. Bull or bear market. This one doesn't have to take long. A bear market looks like this, where we have, a downtrend. High, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower lows, etc. Just down, down, falling off of a fucking cliff, right? Same right here. Down, bam! Dead cat bounce, bam! Right? We are now in the process of a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, 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 right? The definition of a bear market isn't higher lows and high highs. It's lower lows and low highs. So altcoins on the dollar pair, obviously in a bull market, right? And, unless you bought the wrong shit coins, then, but yeah, whatever, that's up to you. Overall, the altcoin market is in a bull market. Others, dominance. So how much altcoins are dominating, right? Like this part is more like, hey, are altcoins in a bull market just like this, right? Are altcoins dominating compared to the rest of the market? That's important, right? Otherwise, you could just better buy something else. Well, at this moment, no. Others are not dominating, right? They have their moments, of course, of relief, which we see occasionally. Overall, trend is down. So downtrend, very simple, point for the bears right now, right? We are in a downtrend. However, I do want to tackle, though, that this might be the worst moment to say that or to realize that. Like, oh, we are in a bear market for altcoins. Like, okay, but we knew that over here, right? Like, we don't have to now just realize that and do something with that. Because, again, it's also about what's to come. Um, and purely based on this chart, right? Purely based on this chart, not combined with anything else we just discussed. I do look at this chart and I'll be like, okay, what do we have right here? So we already, it's clear, right? Currently not up. So there is a point for the bears. Let's not mistake about that. What do I also see on this chart though? I see the top side of the range and I see the downside of the range. Let me make this red, right? And let me make that other one that's green already. Red is usually where you go down and green is usually where you go up, right? We are now at the green. So, to be bearish at the support, yeah, that's like, I don't know. Don't do that, right? So that's one. We are at support instead of resistance. Doesn't mean that support can't break, but overall betting on something going up at support, yeah, that's the only wise thing to do, of course, right? So that's one thing that's quite bullish on this chart. The other thing is that we have a fat ass double bottom right here, right? Really fat double bottom. And these double bottoms, they don't exist for no reason, right? You can see that we had a bottom right here and we had a bottom right here. And basically from that point, it was like, it took a while, right? It took a long time, but we did go up, right? Now we're doing something quite similar actually. So that's looking really, really, really fantastic. Also, if you draw a Fibonacci tool, as you see over here, you can see that we are now at this moment at the exact zero, right? If we go down, then the bottom is low, right? However, if you look where the next level is, it lines up with this resistance right here, which is the 382. And that's always like the first target, right? That's not the target, but the first stop, basically. Usually you go to the golden zone or the 786, which is sitting way, way, way higher. And yeah, I don't know, there is just a lot of freaking upside on this chart. Then again, currently, hey, it's not in an uptrend, right? So again, when it comes to the current situation, yeah, point for the bears. When it comes to what to expect, let's be honest, man, point for the bulls right there. Then, and there are bearish people sometimes on the channel commenting that I am not wise for being bullish, and I do think that it's better to be bullish at the lows than be bearish at the lows. But you might feel like, yeah, you only look at the bullish things. I really try to look for the bearish case scenarios as well, though, and there are still a few. But why am I bullish? Because you have money in the market. You want it to go up, yeah, but I also kind of put money in the market because I see the charts and I was bullish on these charts and therefore I put money. It's not that I first put money in and then feel like, okay, now better go up. Like that's kind of, it's not my first cycle. And we were bearish on the channel for a long time and I just can't right now, bro. Sorry, man. Even if it fucking dips 30% this week, whatever, let's not try to time it, okay? That's really important to understand. Then, Bitcoin itself. So again, Bitcoin, yeah, we kind of already discussed it about that 30% correction that we're having right now. But Bitcoin overall, is Bitcoin in a bull or a bear market? Look, you cannot look at a Bitcoin chart and be like, yeah, there's a bear market, right? You can't. We have a moment where we go up, we range, go up, range, go up, range, right? And during these ranges, we do go down, right? If you look at this last range that we were in, right, where we spent so much time, Bitcoin went also down 33%. It's more than what we did right now. And we still have a fat lag right here. You could say like, yeah, but that's because of Trump. Insert reason, it doesn't matter. It's not because of Trump. We fucking predicted 3 years ago that we will go up right here. Why? Because that's a seasonality and then the news will follow. So really ignore news, please. So that's how Bitcoin does compared, to the cycle behavior, of course. But we already gave that a separate thing. But I'm not bullish purely based on this chart, right? What would make I'm not bearish. I don't know what I said. Purely based on this chart. What would make me bearish? Look, if we have a bigger correction than these last two cycles, I would feel like, losses are diminishing, right? To get a bigger correction and really close there, then I will be like, okay, something else is going on, right? Not necessarily already being bearish, but keep that in mind. So that will be around a 40% correction that I feel like, okay, what's happening? And that's 65K, give or take, right? Then we break this, then we go lower than what we usually did. And I feel like, oh, okay, it's not that great. Overall, we have low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Anything above 50K is technically a higher low, dude. Like, Bitcoin is not bearish, man. So this one goes obviously to the bulls. Now, by the way, about that 30% correction, to back that up a little bit, what we talked about, I posted on our Telegram a few months ago. We already discussed the possibility of Bitcoin going back to 70, 75K. And the reasons are for cyclical Q1 30-35% correction, what we just discussed. Also, the 50 weekly simple moving average is sitting right there right now, right? And that's always a big support during bull markets. And once we break it, then we often, always so far go in the bear, right? But it's not weird to retest. It's what we see quite a lot. It's also the 0.618 retracement. So if you look at Bitcoin and you draw a FIB tool over it from the latest run, you can see that the 618 comes in right there. And it is also the breakout point from where we got stuck in, whole 2024, basically. So therefore, 70, 75K, obvious as hell. If that's the reason why you are bearish, then I hope that that no concerns, bro. That's not a freaking problem, really. It's not a problem. Yeah, that was Bitcoin. Then we have the total crypto markets. Now, this one for the bears at this moment. Kind of. Look, but for the shorter term, right? I said about this chart earlier on the channel, like, guys, look at this chart. So everything in crypto, reverse it, right? Invert it, basically. Down, up, break, right? Up again, break. We were below it. Right, so this chart was looking bearish as hell. However, at this moment, we are now going above this again. And I do think that where we are right now is some fat resistance, by the way. But we broke a level that I felt like, hey, that's a really big level where you usually get rejected. Right now, let's flip it back again. So this one, shorter term, hey, bears got that. Nice. Good job, guys. You have a point for yourself, right? Really, this is like, yeah. Yeah, again, I don't want to, look at everything like, oh, there's also something bullish right there. So here you go. I do feel like, man, there is a lot of support coming in right here. We are still holding this area. It's but hey, let's play that out. Let's let that play out first. For now, bears got this one. Then we have the Bitcoin dominance, excluding stable coins, right? So that's basically how our altcoins doing against Bitcoin. Now, we kind of already looked at this chart, but it's just another chart, like gives a different perspective on it, right? And that's this one. No, that's not this one. That's this one, right? So by looking at this chart, simple. If it goes up, it means Bitcoin will outperform altcoins. It will take the liquidity out of alts. If it goes down, it would mean that altcoins are taking liquidity out of Bitcoin. Now, if that happens, that's going to make altcoins really explode because altcoins are really low right now and Bitcoin is at a high price still even during this correction. So that's a lot of liquidity that can go into the altcoin market. So this move down is going to cost one fat fucking alt season. So the question is, can this chart ever go down? Yeah, of course. Of course it can ever go down, right? Like, look what we did right here. That happens. Now, how I look at this. At the moment, the how do you say it? It has nothing to do with money. It has something to do with altcoins versus Bitcoin, right? So let's say if you are against alt season, whatever you want to, why you should be that, but if you are against alt season, let's call you a bear, and if you are rooting for alt season, you're a bull in this case. Okay, the bears currently still winning. Very simple, right? This chart is going up, which is not good for bulls. Very, very fucking simple. That's the trend at this moment. Period. Bam. Point for the bears. Definitely. So the bears got this. Still holding off alt season. Now, point for the bulls, I do want to give it, is that one, it's Q1 post-halving year. When did we had a fat alt season over here? Q1 post-halving year. 2, right? That's where this chart crashed basically. And 2, this trend line right here, we occasionally go above it, but it has always been resistance. Now, again, you can do this forever basically, right? So that's not really point worthy, but it's something to keep in mind. 3 though, look exactly where it got rejected during the last, capitulation wick a couple weeks ago at the 786. That's not a weird level to get the final rejection. So current momentum in the bear's favor. The forecast, way more down than upside, right? Way more. Even if it goes back to previous cycle highs and it goes to 75%, it's fine. That's another 8% from here. But if it goes to previous cycle lows, then it goes down to 42%, right? Look at the difference. That's crazy. That's 25% down. So you have to think about it like that. What's the upside versus the downside? And in that case, the bulls have a way brighter future based on this chart. So do have to give it to bulls for this one as well, right? Then the DXY, the dollar currency index. Trumpy said, I'm going to weaken the dollar. And that's good for other assets that are paired against the dollar, like crypto, right? A weaker dollar is higher prices. There's a lagging effect, though. We now see the dollar go down quite hard, but everything is going down, right? So have to see how that plays out. At this moment, we had a major support resistance right here. And I'm not saying major for no reason. You can go back to the 70s and see that since then, it has already been a huge place of resistance. We broke that without a sweat. So the dollar is really fucking weak right now. We had this mid support, also broke that, no problem. The next level is here. That's bullish as fuck. Although you don't notice on prices right away, but that's really good. That's really, really good. So this is a big fat point for the bulls. Now, it's obviously that bulls so far are winning, right? So deploy wisely. Then we have the dominance excluding altcoins. So what do we mean by that? All the money in the crypto market. But let's extract altcoins from that. How high is that dominance, right? And then we get this chart. So this is Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, and DAI dominance. So basically everything excluding altcoins, right? Now, it's basically the higher this is, the worse altcoins are. Like this has been bottom area since 2019. Apart from where altcoins are sitting at that price. That's good. That's cool, right? Because you can take a look at altcoins on the dollar pair and you could be like, it can go down here, 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 here. Like there's no floor, right? Although this is also not a guaranteed ceiling, it has been for the last 6 years, right? Despite this wick. So we could say like, hey, this is the worst case scenario for alts. Now, at the moment, it's more in the bearish territory than the bullish one, right? I don't know why I drew it like that, because it's more like, I don't know, something like that, right? So therefore, at the moment, bears are in control. For the last, this cycle, we spent way more time above here, right, than below. We see all this going on right there and there. So in that case, yeah, that's a point for the bears. On the other hand, I do feel like, man, if you look at this chart, yeah, what's the upside? Yeah, okay. What's the downside? Bam, that's gonna be a fat fucking alt season. That's money flowing from Bitcoin, USDT, USDC, Ethereum into alts. So all in all, I do feel like, yeah, this is obviously a very bullish chart if you have a bit of patience. Yeah, almost kind of there. This one I haven't even checked yet. RSI levels, all right? Mainly stochastic RSI on the weekly. And why on the weekly? Weekly shows like, hey, what could happen in a couple months from now. It's saying nothing about today, tomorrow, or next week, but it's also not a multi-year time horizon. So I think that's for investing, especially at this moment, perfect. So what's the stochastic RSI saying? And this is kind of a lagging indicator, but this is a momentum indicator. And you'll do notice that whenever it's at low, at oversold territory, overall DCing there and DCing out at the overbought territory has a huge win rate. So let's take a look at this one. And this is like, okay, look, I don't want to mention, we are now heavily oversold, right? It doesn't mean that prices cannot go down from that point, right? Here, what's a good example? Here, right? Let me get a little bit to the right for you. Here, we were also oversold around here, right? Eventually, Bitcoin's price, though, went from $29,000 to $17,000 during being oversold, right? So I want to make it clear, we can spend time here and the market can still go down. But it is better to buy at these levels than to buy at these levels. Now, at this moment, Bitcoin on the bigger time frame is heavily oversold. So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Altcoins, heavily oversold. So I want to click a couple random charts to see what we can come up with, right? Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, heavily oversold. Bitcoin dominance, overbought. Okay, it starts to make sense right now, right? Altcoin dominance, oversold. This is all saying buy and buy alts, right? It's quite funny actually. Ethereum, oversold. Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair, oversold. Jesus, great, man. Bitcoin dominance without stables, more realistic. Overbought, even more overbought. I can't express how fucking bullish this is. Again, it doesn't mean that we cannot go down more this week or next week or like even maybe for a month, right? Or whatever. But overall, being bullish right now is straightly retarded. Being bearish right now is straight like, that's so like, you look at every indicator like the dominance, like screaming like, oh, getting overbought right here. And altcoins like, oh, we are so oversold. We need to, and it's not one chart, right? Therefore, I don't like to look at only Bitcoin, whatever. That could be a little wrong maybe, but every single chart is saying the same thing. Be bullish and be bullish in alts. This is worth fucking 10 points. Beautiful. But let's give it one. But this is obviously really bullish. So these were the RSI levels. Now we have a really good one actually, and that's a little shout out to
skate up in our Discord and Telegram. If you look at the M2 Global Liquidity Index, right? So the M2 money supply. What do we find right here? The M2 money supply. That's kind of the macro that we all need to look at. We can take a look at crypto charts. It's all nice. And eventually, like I said, that will reflect what's going on anyway. But let's put some macro in as well. And what's that showing right now? This is showing that the M2 money supply is getting nicely high, right? Now, what's really cool about that we usually always have the money supply going up and Bitcoin following like a little dog, and altcoins as well. And that's so cool about this. We had, look, let's start here, right? Bitcoin bear market, money supply down, great, right? Money supply, bam, up. Bitcoin, after that, bam, up. Cool, right? We have the money supply, up. Bitcoin, up. Money supply, up. Bitcoin here, up. Now we have the money supply, up. This is going up. There's no way anybody can say that that's not good. This is really, really, really good, okay? Because this is not a matter of what people want to deploy or where they want to deploy. It means that there is just more liquidity flowing in. There is just simply more money, right? To put it somewhat like very retarded like that. So this is bullish. This is really, really bullish. And I love the delayed effect, right? Money supply down, Bitcoin down. You can trade this so well, actually. Let's do that on the Discord, guys. Let's open a channel for that. Let me take a look. Did we already have this right here? No, that was already good. Yeah, one thing, another macro thing. Let's take a look at the S&P and the NASDAQ. Because at the end of the day, it's pretty correlated, right, on a bigger time frame. So if the S&P goes into a bear market, then crypto probably goes into a bear market, right? So let's take a look at the S&P. Now, overall, if you look at this chart, over the long term, doesn't matter what the fuck you think, this will always go up, right? Despite huge recessions, it will go up. I get that you don't plan to hold for another fucking 10 years, but long term, you cannot be bearish on this, right? So that out of the way, what's going on in the shorter term? Well, the S&P is giving an opportunity that we got a couple times during this bull market. You can say like, oh, it's going down, bear market. But look, we had the same over here, same over here, we had the same over here, same over here, same over here. Guess what? It was all during a fat ass bull, right? So with this chart, I don't feel like, oh, bearish. Not at all, actually, right? We made a lower low. Yeah, we made lower lows and lower highs over here as well. And that's fine. I mean, if you overlay Bitcoin on that chart, then you can see that Bitcoin doesn't really like respond quite well to that, right? Bitcoin here also went from like, what was it, 30, 31K to 25 or so. Like, yeah, that's a pretty decent correction right here, actually. However, that's short-term stuff, right? So yeah, in the short term, chart is going down, but we already know that the markets are going down in the short term. Yeah, is that something for the bears to celebrate? Or is that an opportunity for the bulls? I don't know really how to, I think both can be true. If you're trading and shorting on the short term, then yeah, nice, right? If you feel like I sold it all for the long term, I feel like, oh, what did you do? So it depends kind of how you look at it, actually. The S&P overall looking pretty great. The NASDAQ, look, can it go down a bit more? Yeah, it's possible, right? If we go back down to this trend line, it goes down another 4%. And so far, with this whole crypto correction, the Nasdaq has been going down with 13%, right? So could we see another like 30% of what already happened from this point? If this happens, yeah, that could be a short term for the bears. So let's be fair. Let's be fair, right? However, is it a fucking up or down trend? Come on. I mean, this is a bull market, right? So I do feel like, yeah, let's not turn bearish too soon right here. So there's obviously one also for the bulls. Now, I cannot be bearish on this yet. I can't. I just simply can't. Maybe another chart here and there to make it a little extra. Did I write this down just now? I think I gave it to the bears. Oh, let the bears have whatever. The logarithmic regression band for Bitcoin. There are like 100 more charts that I could take a look at. And I'm going to do that, so stick around. No, I'm not going to do that. A couple that I do think are pretty interesting. The logarithmic regression band, right? Every single bull market, even the different bull market in 2011 when everything just was new and less liquidity, etc. Every single one of them came at least super close to the upper band. Super close, right? Here, super close. Here, right in it, super close. At least super close, we touched it, right? So the upper band is a magnet for Bitcoin. We are now like in the lower band. So is this bullish or bearish? I mean, look, the bear scenario is when we come from the upper band towards the lower band, right? Like here to here. This is an accumulation phase. And the bull market is where we go from the green to the red, which by the end of 2025, by the way, will be sitting around 300K. Not guaranteeing that it will get there, but let's not X price if it does, right? This is like not bearish by any means. This is one fat point for the bulls. Now, like I said, I can take a look at 100 different charts, but it's pretty clear, right? Bulls are nailing it. And there are some bearish things going on right now as well. But most of the points given in trying to really like in all unbiasedly, all the points given are more like, that's what's going on right now, or but it's not a forecast, in my opinion, like, hey, this is the expectation. So if you feel like the bear market just started, well, probably I hope that after this video you don't feel like that anymore. If you feel like, hey, there's a lot of upside coming, then there's a lot that confirms that, in my opinion. So let me know what you think, guys. Sometimes people on Twitter, in the comments, wherever, they say like, oh yeah, it's bearish, but they never give a reason, right? They always like, it's bearish. Okay, right? I just try to make my content as like backed up as possible, right? That if I say like, hey, I'm bullish, that you have fucking 15 reasons why I am that. Like, I'm not just gonna tell you, oh, it's time to buy and then, or it's time to sell and nothing, right? Let's back up our shit. Let's come with arguments why we think this market is going into a certain direction so we can really make the most out of it. That's the end of the day, the goal for all of us, right? Whether you're bullish, bearish, goatish, whatever that is, right? So thanks for watching. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell notification on. And I'll see you next time.